Hey friends, hello and welcome to October. October, we're here. It's it's still Q3. It's the third, is it the last third of the year? January, February, March. That was an April. That was kind of like, all right, things are a bit weird. May, June, or then it was March. May, June, July, August. And then it's September, October, November, December. Oh my God, we're like actually deep into it. We're almost in Q4. We're almost in new console land. It's pretty crazy. I thought I'd do an update video, pretty sort of like off the cuff, and probably short enough as well, because I just want to let you know what's coming in October. And I thought that would be a fun excuse to do it. For some of you, these will be arriving in October, and these will be arriving in October. Thank you so much to everyone who chipped in for No Clip Summer Jam. I know we got a bunch of new patrons. I know a bunch of you ordered your digital tickets or your physical lanyards, all of which help us as a team to fund more work and to keep everything going. So we really, really appreciate it. If you are one of the American folks who ordered these, I shipped them out this week. They all have tracking on them. I haven't sent the tracking out to people because it's going to take like 2 days to get to you. But I looked up some of the tracking today, and there are some people in Milwaukee and Seattle and Boston and Baton Rouge that are getting their Summer Jam lanyards today. They're out for delivery. So I'm hopeful all of you will have them today, tomorrow, if latest Monday, I think, in the US. If you're in Europe, excuse me, they're going to take a little bit longer. I almost have them all packed up and ready to go. It was a lot more work sending things internationally. Customs was more expensive, so I had to like make triply sure that everything was locked up and good and made sense. So thank you for your patience, and you'll be getting them once they're in the mail. They should be pretty fast because we're paying for a good delivery for them, and I'll be tracking all those as well. So thank you to everyone who ordered those. We had loads of people in Europe. Loads of people down under, some folks in New Zealand. We had some folks in Morocco as well, which is really cool. So looking forward to seeing these bad boys pop up all around the world. But what's coming on No Clip this month? This is the start of our 4th year, basically. It's like this time 4 years ago, we were announcing the Rocket League documentary. So it's kind of like, all right, what's coming up now? Because in many ways, I feel like I'm back there. I'm now once again in Oakland, working out of a room in a house not too far from where I used to live when we founded No Clip. We don't have the studio anymore, but I've gotten used to working from home. I've got the room set up really good. I have a separate room where I do my editing in and lots of my admin, and my daughter's artwork all over the wall that I'm now smacking all over the place. I can't show it on the stream because then No Clip will own the copyright to her art, right? So and in that way, I feel like we're getting back to basics. The podcast has been a lot of fun about having that like constant drip of something coming out. Got some news on how we're sort of tweaking that a little bit in the next couple of episodes. But it feels like, I don't know, I feel really comfortable now with what No Clip has put out there. We put up a lot of stuff, a lot of different types of stuff. And based on your feedback, based on chatting to people over Summer Jam, and also based on just the reality of where we're going to be at for the next year at least, I feel like we're just sort of like scoping back to where we were. We're focusing on the big documentaries like we were before. We're going to pump out these like smaller features in between those, and then we're going to have the podcast going throughout. And then the other thing I want to get back to is the stuff that I always feel like I've fallen short on, which is my personal videos, my op-edy stuff, the Twitch streaming and all that. And hopefully you've been seeing over the past couple of months, certainly in the past month, most of those, you know, we've settled into a good pace on a lot of this stuff. And I'm excited to use the strengths of the team to keep doing it. So let me tell you what's coming in October. First of all, the Alien Isolation video that we had left over from our Creative Assembly documentary is half edited, I'd say. I had an idea of putting it up. It's not that long. It's like maybe 25 minutes. It's mostly about the ways in which the game could have been so much different. They changed perspectives on it. They changed how they pitched it, how they got it the okay from Warner and Sega. The research they did, a lot of that type of thing. How the AI was brought online, how the difficulties they had in finding where the fun in the game was. It's cool. It's not a big doc about the whole game. I kind of want to set expectations. It's definitely a smaller one. But also I'm going to spend a bunch of time in post-production just tweaking it and making it feel really good. Frank had a really good idea of like having it as our Halloween video because we've never done a horror video in October, and this makes total sense. So I'm going to lean into the horror aspect of it, and that'll be up later in the month. Something that'll be up later in the month as well is the something I've not mentioned before, and we've been planning it with them for a couple of months now. And this morning we finally got the interviews done, and it's only 2 people we have for it, so it wasn't as big as I was hoping we could do it. But then COVID. But we do have Flight Simulator. We talked to the folks at Microsoft and Asobo about Flight Sim, and we'll have a whole video all about how they made the world, how they worked on the physics for the flying, how the weather was done. A lot of this has popped up in other videos, but we're going to have like a pretty good breakdown of just kind of like everything about world building, tree propagation, building, removing shadows, color correction, using the data, how the weather tech works in real time, all that sort of stuff. So it was cool. We had a really fun, I've had a couple of meetings with them over the past couple of weeks. We recorded our interview this morning. It was good. Like every video we do, I'm like, oh, I have to do so much audio correction on this now, and it's really technical. So it's going to be like a little bit of work to put it together, but it's going to be really fun, and I'm delighted to get something on Flight Sim because it's been one of the more interesting games that have come out this year for sure, especially during the whole COVID thing where so many of us are looking to get out of the house. Something that you have all been asking for that's getting worked on right now as well is the Dishonored documentary. I have hummed and hawed over this for a long time, over whether we should do another series, whether we should do just one big video. It seems like the feedback from a lot of folks is very much in the big doc thing. Also, if we look at like numbers and engagement on most of our videos, like the Outer Worlds stuff did pretty well, but like not that well considering how much information was at them, and we did that in a series. And I think that was like more of an issue where we just filmed so much, and I couldn't feasibly get it all in one video, so it would have been 2, and then that wouldn't have felt right. So it made sense to put it in a series. The Dishonored one, I'm pretty happy I can like crunch that down. And get a good, like, I don't know what the runtime might be 90 minutes. I have no idea. So I haven't gotten that far into the edit yet. But I'm going to do it as one video and just have it like as a prestige piece, because that's the thing that people love about NoClip. So we'll have Alien Isolation, Flight Sim, which would be like smaller, sort of like 20-25 minute ones. Although the Flight Sim one might go on. It was quite good. There was a lot of meat in that one. Kind of like the Edmund McMillan video, which ended up being like 50 minutes, I think. Sometimes they end up just having so much information that we can't trim it down, which is good, I think. And then Dishonored is kind of like our big doc thing we're going to have it in the next little while. And then we're sort of transitioning into like unknown territory, because there's new consoles coming out. There's a bunch of games coming out, like big games that we will hopefully have follow-ups on in the near future. You can all probably guess what I'm referring to. There's a lot of studios we've covered in the past that we want to get back to. And then also, we're just not able to do the big doc filming right now. So Dishonored is helpful because it's one we've already filmed. And then Hades episode 6 will be worked on. That'll be coming out in November. So we have that. But outside of that, we don't have that many places we can go to film docs because nobody's in their studios. So, I'd love to, we talked to the folks at Bethesda about doing Doom Eternal earlier in the year. I think I've mentioned that before. And it's just not possible to do it the way we did it before because nobody's in that building. So do we do it remotely? Like, maybe? Are we able to organize it with them that way? I haven't approached them about doing it that way recently or anything, but it's those types of questions where I'm not quite ready to take the plunge on one of those at the moment. I kind of feel once I'm clear of Dishonored, I'll know about it. But what I am kind of hopeful to do is use those resources and that filming stuff to film stuff locally that we can, and maybe not with developers, like to do something kind of like the Half-Life doc, which was a little bit more about our journey and our nostalgia and us filming in our location, and that's kind of where I see maybe this next big idea I have for November, which I'll talk about at the end of this, but let me just keep going. What else is going on? The podcast has been super cool. We've had amazing guests on for the past couple of months. The numbers have been great. They've been the numbers on YouTube are like fine. They kind of they're low for a lot of them. They pop up for ones that people are interested in. The actual RSS, MP3, like iTunes, Spotify numbers are like constantly going up, which is really cool. We have great retention. People are going back and listening to all episodes, and we're seeing that curve do that, which is really fun. And what we wanted to do, because we had like some really big people on, we had Derek Yu, Brian Fargo, we had Angela Hill, the UFC fighter, which was super fun. And we've had these big names on, and that's been awesome. But we also want to cover like sort of smaller stories that are interesting, that mightn't have the sort of tentpole getting people through the door feeling that some of those on would have done. So this week we have one. It's a project that I wanted to cover for a while called Bullets Per Minute, BPM, which interestingly enough apparently was somewhat inspired. The color palette of the game was inspired somewhat by the intro I edited for our Doom Eternal document, or for our Doom 2016 documentary. So that's a cool way to get me to answer an email, I guess. But the game ended up being a lot of fun and has done really well on Steam in the past. It only came out 2 weeks ago. So we had the guys on for that. But as part of that podcast, me and Frank just did like a quick little catch up and talked about kind of the games we were playing. Mostly I just wanted to talk to him about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, because both of us have been playing that to death. So we talk about that and talk about a couple of other games that have come up, like Spelunky, and we talk about Summer Jam. So it's kind of like a no-clip podcast in the old sense. And then after, like, I don't know how long it is, maybe 20 minutes of us chewing the fat and catching up with everything, then I shoot to the interview. So it's kind of like, I like that feel where we can go, all right, now, and then let me sell you this interview, and then go watch that interview. So we're doing that with BPM this week. I'm talking to some of the folks from Crow Team about Serious Sam 4 next week, which is going to be super interesting. So we might do the same type of format for that. So I'm excited to hear what people think of it. In terms of other videos, probably right after this goes up, or maybe the next day. We'll see. Early access people might get it earlier. We did a video kind of out of nowhere where the MADE, the Museum of Art and Digital Entertainment here in Oakland, where we filmed a bunch of documentaries, our Rediscovering Mystery doc, the Frog Fractions doc. They've had to close their doors because of COVID. Budgetary reasons, without people coming through the door and paying to come to the museum, they can't afford rent. So they've basically bundled the whole thing up and put it in storage for 2 years. So we went there. I filmed with Alex Handy, showed the place off, used all the B-roll we filmed years ago of the place to show what it used to look like a back and forth, and talked about the work they do, why it's important, and the trouble they're in. So that video will be going up. Today's Thursday. Today's the 1st of October. It'll either be going up today or today for early access, and tomorrow for other people. I'm trying to work out with Alex because they're relaunching their website or something, and we want to make sure we have all the URLs correct for donate pages and all that type of stuff. Yeah, aside from that then, I'm looking forward to doing more community style stuff. Frank is working on a pitch for our new Twitch show, and I've been streaming. Last night I did some Spelunky 2, which was a lot of fun. I managed to get to 4-2 on my first run, which I was very happy about. I bet Olmec twice in a row. And I was a little bit drunk last night, so I feel like I feel pretty good about that too. So that was cool. So between that and the podcast and trying to bring back some of my old shows, which I know I don't even want to mention anymore because I hate banging that drum, because you'll see it when you see it. It's coming. But between all that stuff, I'm feeling pretty good. Like creatively, we've a lot going on, which is fun. Big docs, smaller videos. The podcast, I think, has its audience and people are into it and it's growing. Summer Jam was fun to show off a little bit more of our personality, and it was cool to see the reaction to that. And we got a lot of really cool emails, a lot of people joining up on Patreon, which I was really excited about. And it was also like a fun sort of community moment. Like, we don't get these moments very often. We usually do something around birthday time, or we'll do a charity stream here or there, but we don't have these like big sort of calendar moments. And we're going to try and create a bunch more of those. The next one is coming on November, and it's an idea I've had for a long time. I actually wanted to do it during Summer Jam, but it was too much. There was just too much going on. The lanyards ended up being way more work than I thought they'd be. Jeff Delgado's art will be up. He did we did the vote for what art he should do for the background. He did an incredible Outer Wilds background, which we're going to release to patrons again, probably this weekend, I imagine, maybe on Sunday. But yeah, this big idea I've had, it's called the Big Vote, and I guess it kind of works around election season, now that I think about it. Not to make light of the elections, but the idea is that we've always taken feedback from the community over what docs we should do, and right now, every doc is kind of as possible as the next one, right? Because we can't go anywhere to film editing, so they're all just about getting Zoom calls, right? Or getting people on Discord, or doing research, or filming them here, or doing weird versions like the Half-Life doc, like just thinking outside the box, right? So really what I want to do is to hear what people want us to cover. And I have some ideas of what that might end up being. And the idea is that we are going to allow every patron, $3 up or whatever, because they're the people that get the updates, to vote on what game they would like us to cover. And we're going to add up all those votes from the 4,500 people that are patrons. We'll add them all up. We'll categorize them if it makes sense. Somebody says Deus Ex 2 and someone says Deus Ex 1. We'll just say, all right, Deus Ex. We won't cheese it or anything. We'll put them where it makes sense. And then we'll add them all up, and whatever's number one, we're going to do it, even if the studio isn't down to talk to us, which would be the case if what I think might happens, which is people say Bloodborne or Dark Souls. But it also might be the last thing that gets us through the door with some people. You never know. But yeah, the idea is that we will then maybe immediately, if it's a small game, more often, more higher chances that, in 2021, then we spend a bunch of time working on that and then eventually put it out. And yeah, I really like this idea because it's creative boxes are always fun for me, and especially if it's like super explicit that like people are like, oh no, this is the one we want. I think that'd be cool. So that's coming down the road. So if you're a patron right now, just hold on. About a month's time, we'll be rolling out the big vote with a bunch of videos and fanfare, and getting you all to vote on whatever big doc we do. I won't say next because we've loads of more stuff. We still have more Prey stuff to come out. We have a bunch of stuff that we still have filmed. But that's kind of the next one, which I'm super excited about. All right, that's it. I don't want to keep this any longer. I wanted to keep this under 20 minutes if I could. Thank you all so much for your support. Loads of videos hitting the site. Thank you for believing in us during this whole COVID crisis. We've actually probably put out more videos in the past 5 months than at any period prior to that. Fantastic work by Jeremy getting a load of those GDC videos out. Fantastic work by Frank to just kind of hold the ship and keep everyone up to date, especially during Summer Jam. Megan for all of the caption work that's been going on. I've been throwing her captions with like, can you get this done in a day? And she somehow managed to make it happen. It's been a real cool group feeling to it, and it's been fun jumping into Discord and chatting in the comments and getting a sense of what people are into. And it's cool. We can see it in the Patreon. We've higher retention and higher people jumping than we've had in the longest time. So people are obviously believing in the mission, and we want to make right on that. So yeah, appreciate it. All right. If you have any questions, stick them in the comments below. As ever, it's my favorite thing to do is answer questions in the replies. And that wasn't sarcasm, by the way. I actually do really enjoy that. Or in Discord, you can always stick them in the suggestions tab or just in the NoClip chat. We usually talk in there, chew the shit in there. Yeah, that's it. All right. Hold tight. Alien Isolation, Flight Sim, Dishonored, more podcasts, Twitch streams, twitch.tv/noclip. We have the /noclip for that one. Thank you, Twitch. Lanyards inbound. Big vote coming. Got BMX as well, by the way. Feeling pretty good about that. It's for a different video. So if I have a broken arm in the next video, you probably know why. All right. Have a good one. Peace.